a lot of starting at you.
There is something incredibly soothing about watching massage being performed, and in the 21st century, this most ancient of healing practices is enjoying a very healthy resurgence in popularity. But look a little more closely and you'll see that what's being demonstrated here is rather different to the more widely used Swedish, sports or aromatherapy massage that we've all become very familiar with. What's actually being done is Shiatsu, which, as the name suggests, very definitely has its roots in the Far East. Now, despite being so very obviously hands-on, understanding the philosophy behind Shiatsu is equally as important as the physical movements. And whether you want to learn how to use this wonderful technique or discover a little more about what to expect if you're going to try a Shiatsu session with a professional practitioner, this is undoubtedly the best place to start. To find the origins of Shiatsu, it's necessary to travel back more than 5,000 years in time to ancient China, where people were already trying to unravel the mysteries of the human body. However, by the time Western physicians began dissecting bodies, examining organs, the skeleton and the circulatory system, Chinese medicine had already evolved way beyond this hit and miss level, but in an entirely different way. The Chinese had looked to the forces of nature and the universe for answers regarding health and well-being, developing the concept of yin and yang and studying the flow of energies to restore balance and cure the sick. The ancient Chinese believed that maintaining a constant flow of energy with a harmonious balance of yin and yang within the body was crucial to achieving good health, well-being and long life. Yang is active, hot and loud, while yin is passive, cold and quiet. Yang is day and yin is night, and the two intertwine and penetrate to form the perfect balance, and if this is lost, ill health will invariably follow. According to Chinese philosophy, these two opposing forces exist within absolutely everything, from the organs in our bodies to the food on our plates. So needless to say, the influence yin and yang has on our lives when it comes to ancient traditional treatments will be immense. Despite being viewed with a degree of scepticism by Western medicine for centuries, today it would seem that the ancient philosophies and ideas of the East are at last being taken seriously, and whether you choose Indian head massage, Reiki, acupuncture or reflexology, the flow of energy through the body is of vital importance, and the same is true of Shiatsu. Perhaps the easiest, although rather simplified explanation of this quite remarkable form of massage is acupuncture without the needles, putting specific pressure on the relevant points along the various meridians that carry energy, or qi as it's generally known, through the body. Now, it will really help here to explain the basic principles of qi before we go any further, as whether you're going to have a Shiatsu session, try some self-shiatsu or learn to give a shiatsu massage to a loved one, it will help you get into the right mindset, which can be every bit as important as locating the correct pressure points on the body. Fundamentally, all Chinese medicine was based on the existence of qi, the energy that underlies everything in the universe, whether a solid, gas or liquid, and the philosophers of the East believed that everything was an expression of energy. Qi was everywhere, from the highest snow-capped mountains to the depths of the thickest forests. It could be found in the movement of the sea and the waves, or in the bubbling energy of waterfalls flowing into rivers. Qi was in sunlight and in every flower. It could be found in animals, and most important of all, qi flowed all around the human body, circulating through every muscle, tissue and cell. The general principle is that the more qi you have flowing freely through your body, the more alive you will feel, and naturally the better your health, vitality and energy levels will be. Early scholars believed that qi travelled around the body using channels which formed a network of pathways linking organs, skin, flesh, muscle and bones in a way that is not dissimilar to the circulatory system. These channels are called meridians, although in treatments of Indian origin they are known as rivers, and each one starts or finishes in the head, chest, hands or feet. There are 12 major meridians in the body which are associated with different vital organs. For example, there's a lung meridian which starts on the chest in front of the shoulder and finishes in the thumb, while the stomach meridian starts under the eye and finishes in the second toe. If the qi running through the body is blocked due to illness, stress or injury, too much energy will gather in some channels and not enough will be left in others, and this is where shiatsu can be of great benefit. But at this point we need to make a short journey, because influenced by the techniques of their Chinese neighbours, it was the Japanese who established the practice of pulling and stretching limbs to open up the channels, while pressing various points along each meridian to help the body re-establish its natural balance and cure itself of illness. Even if you aren't a trained practitioner, it's possible to experience qi, which is described as a feeling of tingling or warmth, but it's vital if you want to do this to keep your mind clear of unwanted thoughts and worries. Experienced practitioners and novices alike will find meditation a fantastic way of achieving this, and the importance of being calm and relaxed before working on someone cannot be stressed enough, as any tension will be transmitted from the giver to the receiver. Exercising using Tai Chi or yoga can also be very beneficial, as not only do they help focus the mind, they're also great for improving suppleness, which is quite important if you want to practice shiatsu, as the pressure points on the body can require all kinds of positions and movements. But don't worry, this isn't a prerequisite if you're simply going for a treatment. Massage practitioners will often do hand exercises before they begin, as they are, of course, the most vital tools for shiatsu, and this is a brilliant way of warming up. Wrists can be flexed by pushing the palms together, fingers will be suppler if they are stretched out, and finishing off by giving the hands a good shake will get rid of any remaining tension. Also, remember that as with any form of traditional massage, using body weight is important to Shiatsu. So if you're a little intimidated by this, you can practice by pushing down on a cushion with the hands to get the idea of how much pressure to use. So, with all the preparations complete, it's time to meet our Shiatsu practitioner, Sandra Jones. Sandra is a very experienced holistic therapist who regularly uses Shiatsu for a whole range of problems presented by her clients, and the positive feedback suggests that even for those who are not quite sure what it's all about, Shiatsu has remarkable health-giving qualities. As with any good complementary or alternative therapy, the first thing Sandra will do is chat with her client and ask a number of questions in order to get a picture of their general health. There is, however, one important note of caution to point out here. If you have any concerns whatsoever about your own health and whether Shiatsu is an appropriate treatment for you, always consult your GP first. When you go for a Shiatsu session, the type of questions you'll be asked will be about your energy levels, your overall health, and a range of other issues, including whether you're on medication, have low blood pressure, or are pregnant. An experienced practitioner can also determine a lot about your health just by looking at you. For example, if the skin appears dry or dull, this shows there's a lack of stomach qi, so the stomach channels need work. Conversely, if the qi is strong in the stomach channels, this is reflected in a clear, bright complexion. Other telltale indicators could be dark rings under the eyes, which may be signs of a late night, but can also suggest a weakness in the kidney channel, while darker skin at the inner corner of the eye socket can indicate a weakness in the spleen channel. It's also worth mentioning that you should avoid large meals before giving or receiving Shiatsu, as it's much better to wait several hours after eating. Another consideration is the fact that the Chinese believe that the type of food you eat can also affect your energy levels, as some foods are believed to be yang, such as cheese, meat, eggs and seafood, and others yin, like honey, milk and tropical fruit. Well-balanced foods in terms of yin and yang, thought to be beneficial to the body, are nuts, vegetables, cereal grains and temperate fruits such as apples and pears. The next thing to think about is the room where the treatment will take place. It should be warm, quiet, spacious if possible, and neat and clean, which you'll also find important in another Oriental practice, that of feng shui. The importance of obtaining harmony and balance, even in our homes and places of work, is highlighted by Eastern philosophy, because being surrounded by clutter and chaos can obstruct the flow of qi, and disorganized surroundings will lead to a disorganized life. The space for your Shiatsu session should be fairly neutral, perhaps with a few soothing candles and plants to help create an ambience of peace and serenity. Traditionally, Shiatsu is practiced on a futon or floor mat, which gives Sandra access to all sides of the body, while using cushions and pillows to provide extra comfort. Shiatsu is usually performed through clothing, and anything light that you feel comfortable in, which allows freedom of movement, should be fine. Each Shiatsu practitioner will have their own particular way of working, but more often than not, the session will begin with the client lying on their front to give access to the channels located on the back of the body. And today, this is what Sandra has asked Liz to do. And to prepare, she has rubbed her hands together briskly, as this action is thought to encourage the flow of qi before making contact with the body. Sandra's then just going to sit quietly and calmly for a moment or two, focusing on Liz's breathing through the gentle rise and fall of the ribs while resting her palms on the back. This will always help the giver and receiver of Shiatsu to feel as comfortable and relaxed as possible, because any kind of strain or tension in either party can block the flow of energy. The movements that you now see Sandra performing are being used to help open the back and the bladder channel. This channel actually runs from the corner of the inside of the eye, over the top of the head and down the back in 2 branches. Sandra's starting off by stretching out the spine before moving her hands to apply pressure in other areas. All these movements will help open the bladder channel before doing more focused work on the individual pressure points, and this is a wonderful technique for treating the body's imbalances. By sensing the way that energy is flowing, Sandra can apply just the right amount of pressure to really stretch and open up the whole area so that her treatment will have the most beneficial effect. As you can see, these movements with the flat of the hand are now quite firm, and the qi really will be starting to flow. Nevertheless, you do need to be very careful not to apply pressure on the spine itself, something that you should never do. You'll notice in many Shiatsu movements that one hand does the work while the other remains still on another area of the body, feeling for changes in the energy level of the channel. The Japanese refer to these as the child hand and the mother or listening hand, which creates a delightful image and sums up this way of working perfectly. All across the upper back are an array of pressure points connected to the organs most closely associated with the circulation, most notably the heart and also the lungs. In fact, every channel has many pressure points, each one with its own special name, plus a list of corresponding ailments. And if you go on to learn how to give Shiatsu on a regular basis, you'll soon remember what they all are. Shiatsu actually means finger pressure in Japanese, but you'll find that palms, thumbs, elbows, knees and even the feet can also be used to apply the technique over different parts of the body. For the moment though, Sandra is continuing to work with her hands, but even from this early stage in the proceedings, she's using them in a variety of different ways to access the many meridians found in the back. After a very precise sawing movement, Sandra's returning to using moderate pressure all over the back, and all the while she's feeling for the telltale signs of blockages in the energy channels. A good Shiatsu practitioner will always be sensing where more specific pressure is called for, and after using her fingers, Sandra is ready to apply more treatment with her thumbs. The first time you have a Shiatsu treatment, this may feel a little strange, but it's something you'll quickly get used to, and it's not only your energy meridians that will benefit greatly from this, as your muscles will soon start to feel wonderfully relaxed as well. When the thumb pressure is complete, a change in pace to more fluid movements will feel very soothing, not least because of the amount of stress and tension we tend to accumulate in the lower back region that can result in stiffness and lead to pain. Those of you familiar with traditional massage will recognize some of the techniques used in Shiatsu. However, while massage therapists tend to use long flowing hand movements to knead the muscles, you'll find that Shiatsu practitioners apply rhythmic and gradual pressure to the meridians and pressure points. Moving on now and up the back, we come to the small intestine channel, which is perhaps best described as a zigzagging line across the shoulders for part of its course. Manipulation here will support the bodily functions of separating the pure from the impure, and it's believed that this will also sharpen your abilities when it comes to analysing and assimilating information. To begin with, Sandra is applying pressure across the shoulders and over the shoulder blades. Although these movements are working on part of the small intestine channel in terms of Shiatsu, for any localized stiffness in the head and neck, this is doubly beneficial. Up until now, quite a lot of the work Sandra has been doing has been with her palms, but to put more localized pressure on the shoulders, she is also able to use her thumbs. This is a really good way to get deep into the pressure points, and different techniques can be used to channel energy appropriately within the different areas. Try to imagine a tiny vase with its mouth at the surface of the skin and the neck and bowl hidden beneath. This is how the Japanese traditionally visualize the pressure points around the body, and if you're going to learn to give Shiatsu, it's a really helpful analogy. You may well hear these pressure points referred to as tsubos, and if Sandra finds that the point, or if you like, the vase is empty, she will press her thumb into the top of it and hold it for a short while until she can feel it filling with energy. Recognizing a lack of energy in the pressure points is something that will come with practice, while conversely, problems can occur if there is a surfeit of energy, if the vase is too full, which can be caused by blocked qi. When this is the case, using a rotating movement or a gentle pumping in and out with the finger or thumb should alleviate the problem and get energy moving freely once more. For anyone who has never come across the principles of Eastern medicine and the concept of energy channels before, this may take a little adjusting to. However, it's worth remembering that as well as being good for treating a variety of specific ailments, you'll also find that Shiatsu is incredibly beneficial to the body as a whole, stimulating circulation, releasing toxins and tensions in the muscles, while stimulating the immune system and releasing those all-important feel-good endorphins. Interestingly, there are a number of Shiatsu practitioners who actually transmit healing energy simply by holding their hands a short distance away from the channels in the body without using physical touch at all. To understand this principle, that is often employed in the use of Reiki as well, it's necessary to view the body as being surrounded by an invisible energy layer, with Qi being a real-life force made up of electric, magnetic and infrared vibrations, which can be perceived by intuition. With her work on the upper back and shoulders complete, Sandra is ready to move down to work on the hips and the back of the legs. Beginning with firm palm presses, this part of the massage will really open up this hard-working joint, and as the bladder channel that was being accessed a little earlier runs all the way down to the outer edge of the foot, ending at the little toe, the flow of energy can be continued. But in Shiatsu, it certainly pays not to get too literal, and it's important to remember that the name of an energy channel doesn't necessarily reflect only one area that the pressure points will work on. For example, massaging down the bladder channel, you'll find a pressure point behind the knee, which can alleviate lower back problems and invigorate the blood system. And this is definitely one of those fascinating topics that the more you discover about it, the more you'll find yourself wanting to learn. Now, as Sandra begins to work more specifically on Liz's legs, you can see that the muscles at the back of the thighs are very strong and do a lot of work, so will certainly benefit from some attention. There is one note of caution that should just be mentioned here though, as you must never apply pressure to any area of the body that's inflamed, painful or swollen. If the person receiving Shiatsu suffers with varicose veins, pressure should not be applied here either. Ironically, as Shiatsu is so beneficial to the circulatory system, regular sessions on healthy legs will mean the chances of developing varicose veins will be much less likely. There are a number of important meridians that flow along the legs, and as she works, Sandra will also be accessing the kidney channel, which is quite a sensitive area. This channel is pretty crucial as it's responsible for carrying yin energy up through the body, and a lack of kidney energy can result in a wide range of conditions and ailments, including everything from thinning hair to backache. Often those of us with demanding jobs will find we have low energy levels in this area, and Sandra massaging the backs of Liz's legs can really help restore precious Qi. And as she continues to work here, we have the perfect opportunity to consider the way in which the philosophy of Shiatsu developed. The precursor of Shiatsu was a type of bodywork practiced in China called An Mo, An meaning press and Mo meaning rub. When the ideas behind traditional Chinese medicine reached Japan in the 6th century, they made a huge impact. A predominantly Buddhist nation, the Japanese embraced the concepts of balance and equilibrium, and the concept of qi became so deeply entrenched in everyday life that even the most basic greeting, "How are you?" was translated as "How is your qi?" in Japanese. In fact, today, the Japanese language contains an incredible 11,442 known uses of qi combined with other words. As Western discoveries began to threaten the credibility of many of the theories of the Eastern world, Oriental medicine eventually began to dwindle in popularity. It wasn't until the 1920s that a number of practitioners began to re-establish Oriental medicine as the basis for their work, and this is how the Shiatsu that we know today came into being. The next big development came in 1977 when the psychology professor Shizuto Masunaga published his book on Zen Shiatsu, combining Western ideas of physiology and psychology with the ancient philosophies of the East. Consequently, the practice rapidly became very popular in North America and Europe as the benefits of Shiatsu began to speak for themselves and have continued to do so ever since. This final part of the hip and leg massage is really interesting, as after doing some specific work on the soles of Liz's feet, Sandra is actually going to use her own feet to complete this set of movements. Interestingly, the balls of her feet will fit very comfortably into the arches of Liz's, and strange as this might appear, it actually feels fantastic. Having completed her work on Liz's back, Sandra's now asked her to turn over so that she can access the channels that run from the chest into the right arm. There are 3 very important meridians that run down the front of the arms, and Sandra is beginning on the right-hand side. The lung channel runs from the chest to the thumb, while the heart channel starts under the armpit and finishes in the little finger. The third channel starts at the nipple and finishes in the middle finger, and this meridian is called the heart protector channel, which is of vital importance when it comes to maintaining a healthy balance in our emotions. Now, in this position, with the main emotional channels exposed, whoever is receiving Shiatsu at this stage may well feel rather vulnerable, and working quietly to help them feel reassured as you go through this part of the process will be a great help. If you find you're giving Shiatsu to someone who seems to be nervous, just remember that placing the palm over the body can have a wonderfully calming effect, and this technique can also be used on pressure points all over the body when an agitated recipient appears to be full of nervous energy or hyperactive qi. However, as Liz seems perfectly relaxed and very comfortable with Sandra's treatment, she's evidently very receptive, which is really important at this stage. It's not easy to reach these vital energy channels, so Sandra will need to place the arm in different positions to gain access to each different line of pressure points. Beginning gently, working from shoulder to wrist, Sandra can use gentle pressure to progress along the lung channel. This is an important meridian as the lungs receive qi from the outside and distribute it around the body. If weak, this can make us more prone to getting colds and chills and can also lead to fatigue and respiratory problems in general. It's also worth remembering that there's a pressure point just above the wrist, which can really help with blocked sinuses, irritating coughs, and has even been known to help us sweat out the flu. Positioning the arm will also allow Sandra to work on the heart protector channel as well as all the other meridians. This is a really special channel as it works closely with the heart, and if you've got a lot of stress in your life, helping maintain balance here will be fantastic for calming any emotional turmoil in the mind. As with the lung channel, working on this meridian can aid recovery from any kind of feverish illness. It's really important to follow the meridians right down into the hand and fingers, and after loosening up the wrist, Sandra will find that Liz's hand is easy to open up and very receptive. There are some extremely powerful tsubos in the hand and fingers that are terminal points for the channels Sandra's been working on, so she will pay particular attention here. Then, moving the arm once more, this time above the head, Sandra can expose the heart channel, which, as you might expect, can be very helpful for those experiencing circulatory problems. The power of touch is truly evident in Shiatsu, and the value of this very simple connection cannot be emphasized enough. When you've hurt a limb, you rub it, and we all know what a comfort it is when a friend gives you a hug when you're feeling a bit down. Much of Western medicine ignores the importance of touch, but when it comes to our well-being, spreading a little wisdom from the East can go an awful long way. And on that very positive note, you can see that Sandra is now finishing this part of her routine by returning to the shoulder area, making sure that all the pressure points here are not inhibited in any way. While Liz is in this very comfortable position and hopefully by now feeling nicely relaxed, Sandra can start working on the head, neck and face. In fact, the techniques that you see being used here are perfect if you only have time for a mini Shiatsu session, and can be as energizing as they are soothing. If you've ever experienced Indian head massage or had a really good facial, you'll know just how good this can feel. And by lifting Liz's head to open her neck joints, Sandra is applying some of the most ancient healing movements known to mankind as she applies Shiatsu where a great deal of yang qi can build up, causing anything from bad headaches to flushed cheeks. Gently working along the many meridian lines and pressure points to be found here can quickly disperse all that excess yang qi. And of course, even if you haven't got somebody to do this for you, there are lots of the points that you can access for yourself. The face is full of meridian lines and pressure points, and practicing Shiatsu here can help a number of ailments. But as the channels run so close to each other, it's much easier to use Shiatsu more generally on the whole face, using the fingertips to make sure each point is accessed. As Sandra works, she will be covering the yang channels that influence the gallbladder, intestines, bladder and stomach, while just as you might expect, there are pressure points here that are directly related to the senses. With wonderful names, the eye brightness, ear door, listening palace and welcome fragrance points all do exactly what they suggest, and the channel known as the governing vessel, also accessible through pressure points on the head and face, is equally self-explanatory. Working on the midline of the head and face can have an amazingly calming and harmonizing effect, often lightening even the blackest of moods and improving the recipient's clarity of thought. Once the Shiatsu treatment on the head and face is complete, Sandra will follow the flow of energy and work on the left arm just as she did on the right. And although it may seem strange not to deal with both of the arms in sequence, just remember that Shiatsu is all about energy flow around the body. To complete this part of the massage, Sandra will pick up both arms and pull and shake them, ensuring that harmony and balance has been completely restored to the top half of the body. This just leaves the front of the legs, abdomen and feet in need of attention, and surprisingly, having already worked on the legs from the back, there's still a lot to be done at the front. The yang gallbladder channel found along the outer leg is associated with the well-being of the body's tendons and ligaments, and working on the pressure points of this meridian can be of great benefit to anyone carrying a sports injury or experiencing joint problems such as arthritis. By contrast, the yin meridians of the inner leg, including the spleen channel, which is right at the front, will need work to balance this, and with its toning role will encourage muscle strength. And once again, you see the perfect harmony of yin and yang, with the joints and muscles needing balance to function holistically. You will also see that in this position, Sandra is working to the side of the body and using some wonderful stretching movements. A vital channel that can be accessed in this side stretch that flows along the arm is known as the triple heater, a meridian that plays an important role in supporting the immune system. And using Shiatsu in this way will promote a healthy flow of energy throughout the whole body, giving a sense of warmth and well-being. It's important to remember to make stretches slow and gradual, otherwise the muscles will contract, and considering that 75% of all physical pain is caused by muscle tightness, this kind of stretching can really help a huge range of problems. Moving now to the abdomen, we come to the part of the body that most of us are a little uncomfortable about having exposed. Whatever type of massage you are considering, this will probably be the area you'll feel most apprehensive about being touched, and the same is equally true of Shiatsu. But if you can relax and just give this a try, you'll realise how good this actually feels. And you only have to ask those who regularly have massages to confirm this. Even so, ironically, for anyone who has been experiencing problems in the upper abdomen, such as nausea or indigestion, working on the meridians in the legs in the way we've just seen will be of the greatest value. However, should it be the functions of the large intestine proving to be disharmonious, namely in the instances of diarrhea or constipation, then accessing the large intestine bow point can be really helpful. If you want to find this for yourself, it's located about 3 centimetres either side of your navel, but it should nonetheless be stressed that any significant changes in bowel habits need to be discussed with your GP. That said, a gentle massaging of the lower abdomen can help with the discomfort caused by either condition, and especially for those who suffer with irritable bowel syndrome, where drug-based medicine often only offers limited relief. We've already mentioned the similarities in the philosophies between both Shiatsu and reflexology, and if you're trying to learn Shiatsu, the feet can be a great place to practice your skills. There are many pressure points on the feet, and of course wherever you happen to be are easily accessible, even if you find you have to do it for yourself. Achieving harmony through the balance of yin and yang has been a fundamental issue throughout this program, and according to traditional Chinese medicine, all aspects of the human body and its organs are either predominantly yin or yang. Yang channels flow downwards, mainly through meridians in the back, while yin channels flow upwards. But when it comes to the feet, you do get yin and yang in close proximity. On the top and outer edge of the foot, you'll find the yang channels, which help draw excess energy from the head and upper body, and accessing these pressure points can be helpful if you're suffering from a headache, as well as revitalising and warming the feet. For anyone who has a hangover, working with the liver channel on the top of the foot is a very good idea, because it is the liver that deals with the toxic nature of alcohol, and this imbalance as the liver does its job can cause excess yang in the head, leading to headaches and nausea, the classic symptoms of a hangover. By contrast, you'll find the yin channels on the inner and lower surfaces of the feet. Working the yin channels will make them receptive to the earth which they are in contact with as an energy stimulus. This in turn encourages the upward flow of yin energy, producing a nourishing, calming and cooling effect. Although it isn't necessary to know the Japanese names of all the pressure points, they are delightful, especially when it comes to the feet. With bubbling spring on the sole, which calms yang and strengthens yin, you have the perfect antidote to stress, while the inner courtyard between the second and third toe can neutralise stomach acidity and relieve toothache, with plenty of other points to explore, either on your own feet or those of a willing guinea pig. And of course, there's nothing like a good stretching of the toes and feet to complete the picture. Sandra's work is now done. She has worked on the energy flow all around Liz's body, and finishing with the feet is a perfect conclusion. but there should be no immediate rushing back to the hustle and bustle of daily life. After any Shiatsu session, it's important that the receiver has a chance to take all the time that they might need to recover themselves before getting up and carrying on with their day. It's possible that Liz might feel a little lightheaded, but if she takes it steady, that will quickly pass. She also needs to be aware that because of the deep relaxation that occurs during Shiatsu and the activation through the energy channels of the body's major systems, there could well be a natural healing reaction which might present as cold or flu-like symptoms or even headaches after a treatment, especially if it's the first one. This is nothing to worry about though, as these are positive signs from your body simply rebalancing itself in a natural way. It's also important for the giver to separate themselves as well before recharging their own energy levels with some deep breathing or stretching exercises. Remember, Shiatsu is all about energy, and whether you're the giver or the receiver, try and think in terms of harmony and balance. What you have now seen is an example of a complete Shiatsu treatment, although as was mentioned at the outset, every practitioner will have their own ways of working. This is one of the great joys of a treatment system like Shiatsu, and if it's something you decide to incorporate into your own way of life, the philosophy that underpins it will be as valuable as the physical benefits. And what's even better news is the fact that you can put together the equivalent of a Shiatsu first aid kit to help you on a day-to-day basis. And as our time draws to a close, we'll take a quick look at some of the most widely used pressure points. You may well have already heard about the point that's located in the V between your index finger and thumb. In Japanese, it's called the meeting mountains, and if you apply pressure here, you can relieve the pain of headaches, toothaches, and even menstrual cramps. Use the thumb to press down on it, leaning in towards the base of the index finger, and hold for 5 seconds. Release for 5 seconds, and then repeat until you feel better. Another good pressure point to know is the yin tang in the centre of your forehead, just above the eyebrows. This one's very useful if you're feeling anxious, and all you have to do is place your index finger on the point and then put your middle finger on top of the index finger before pressing firmly for 5 to 10 seconds. Whether it's a driving test or an important job interview, this use of Shiatsu can help you wherever and whenever you happen to need it. Anyone who has ever suffered from seasickness or car sickness will really appreciate this next pressure point, which can be found just above the inside of the wrist. This one can really help with feelings of nausea, and you will also apply pressure here for some much needed relief if you're suffering with a hangover. All of us will have experienced lower back pain at some time in our lives, but few of us realise that there's a pressure point between the nose and the lips that can help with this. This is actually a really powerful tsubo and can bring great relief for conditions that can be very debilitating. To apply plenty of pressure, lean onto your finger, letting the weight of your head press down on the fingertip. And of course, once the pain subsides a little, you can go and have a full Shiatsu treatment to get to the root of the problem. There are many more Shiatsu points just as there are energy meridians, and in such a short space of time it has been impossible to cover all of them. Hopefully though, this easy introduction to Shiatsu will have opened your mind to the great possibilities of this wonderful treatment, and there's a wide range of material available if you would like to find out more, as Shiatsu grows in popularity at a time when stress management is more important than it has ever been. The forces of nature, the flow of qi, the balance of light and darkness, the sun and moon, yin and yang, can all have a profound impact on our health and well-being. And when it comes to discovering what an alternative approach can offer, Shiatsu is a very good place to start.